everyone, and welcome to my first video in Pandaween 2022. Today we are going to be doing another episode of Tea and Cartoons. As you may know, this is a series that I started a long time ago, and I started with a video where I just kind of talked about a certain cartoon and gave my thoughts on it, but I want to revamp the series and make it more of a proper video essay format. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Today we're going to be talking about my absolute favorite cartoon of all time, which is Extreme Ghostbusters, which if you have been a fan of the channel for a long time, you probably know that I absolutely love this show. I talk about it at every chance that I get, and I've wanted to do a tea and cartoons video on it for a very long time. So this video has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited to be sharing it with you all today for Pandaween. Obviously, Extreme Ghostbusters is the perfect thing to talk about for Pandaween because it is a very spooky cartoon. It is the perfect cartoon to watch for the Halloween season. So I hope that by making this video, you guys will be inspired to watch and we will be able to enjoy Extreme Ghostbusters for the Halloween season because this is the perfect time of year to be watching it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Very excited. Extreme Ghostbusters is such an underrated show. It is so underappreciated and not enough people know about it. So I hope that by making this video, more people will be inspired to watch it and it will hopefully gain more of a fandom because it really deserves it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we jump into it, as is usual for teen cartoons, it is all about me talking about cartoons while I drink tea because these are two of my favorite things. So today I'm drinking Monster Mash from David's Tea. This is a tea that they released a few years ago that I've been like hoarding because they discontinued it. So I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to drink it. It is a Halloween rooibos tea, and I'm drinking it in my spooky color changing ghost mug, which I absolutely love. So good. So anyway, without any further ado, let's jump into Extreme Ghostbusters. First airing on September 1st, 1997, Extreme Ghostbusters, also known as Ghostbusters Dark, is a continuation of the classic series, The Real Ghostbusters, which originally ran from 1986 until 1991. Taking place years after the events of Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters follows a new team of college-age Ghostbusters taking over the duties of the original team, all under the guidance of Egon and Janine. This new series was an attempt to reinvigorate the Ghostbusters franchise with an edgy twist. Showrunner Jeff Klein explains that by calling it Extreme Ghostbusters instead of its original name Super Ghostbusters, viewers would be told that if you watch the previous cartoon, this is different from the Ghostbusters you're expecting. This resulted in a series deeply rooted in 1990s New York that pushed the limits of what kids' TV networks would allow on the air. Klein explains that we wanted to have a moment of real scares, to do a little bit of a horror show for kids. This is part of what I love about Extreme Ghostbusters, which is its fearlessness to, at times, dive into genuinely dark storylines. Like the episode Deadliners, genuinely horrifying. While the aforementioned Real Ghostbusters was more of a lighthearted comedy aimed at young children, Extreme Ghostbusters was meant to serve as a show that audience could grow into, watching it into their teen years. The result is a darker and edgier take on your typical ghost-busting premise, led by a cast of endearing characters. The other thing I love about Extreme Ghostbusters is its characters. I could go on and on about how endearing, fantastically written, fantastically developed these characters are. They are what make the show for me. In an interview with Ability magazine, Bob Higgins, Columbia Pictures head of development for kids TV, explained that rather than putting together a team of this kind of typical perfect X-Men superhero type team, what we wanted to do was really put together a team of misfits in a way, people that you would not necessarily associate with being superheroes on television. The result was Eduardo the Slacker, Roland the quote square, I don't know, I'd call him more of like the cinnamon roll of the group personally, Kylie the moody sarcastic genius, and Garrett the adrenaline junkie who would act as the team's catalyst. When it came to character design and development, the creators really wanted to be as inclusive as possible in order to appeal to a larger audience. Diversity in cartoons is something that I am really passionate about, something that I really truly believe in, and it's awesome to see that Extreme Ghostbusters took this aspect so seriously and did such a fantastic job. The resulting team of 4 is incredibly diverse, and all of these characters are so genuinely lovable and well-rounded and are all brought to life by a fantastic fantastic voice cast. So now we talk about casting, and when it comes to casting, Extreme Ghostbusters absolutely nails it. We have the legendary Tara Strong as Kylie. We have Alfonso Ribeiro from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Roland. We have Jason Marsden, who played Max Goof in a Goofy movie, and Binks in Hocus Pocus, who plays Garrett. And we have Maurice LaMarche returning as Egon. And fun fact, I have met him and he is the sweetest person ever. The voice cast was actually asked to perform at night during nighttime sessions, which are not typically standard for the industry, and they were all asked to perform as naturally as possible in order to deliver more true-to-life performances. Pat Music, who played Janine, explains that it was one of the first animated series where they had everybody perform fairly naturally. Up until that point, everybody had been over the top. One of the things they stressed about this show is that they wanted everybody to be as real as possible with the roles, to underplay them. At that time, it was a bit revolutionary. As well, all of the actors would perform their lines in the same room, which is not typically standard. Usually voice actors will record their lines in separate recording spaces. This was to allow for more natural and cohesive reads and allowed actors to play off of each other more naturally. Tara Strong recalls that it was like a party. We all clicked and we all genuinely loved each other. Being a huge fan of the series and the cast, this absolutely warms my heart to hear. All of this is really reflected in just how well all the characters are brought to life. Everybody feels natural, everybody feels believable, everybody feels well-rounded, and the way that they play off of one another is just so believable and so fantastic. It really draws you in to the show, and it's what really brings out a lot of the comedic aspects that the Ghostbusters franchise is known for. As is usual for the Ghostbusters franchise, all of the comedy for the show comes out in the show's dialogue. Typically, the franchise finds its comedy in what the characters say and how they play off of one another, and Extreme Ghostbusters is no exception. The dialogue in this show is so fantastically written, with many clever quips from the main cast. The show's comedy isn't by any means overdone, but rather is cleverly planned out and executed with smart and snappy dialogue. So what happened to make Extreme Ghostbusters such an underrated and obscure show? According to the showrunners, it was the victim of bad scheduling, with it just not airing at the right time, and it was also a victim of the decline of non-educational TV shows that occurred in the late 90s. So it was just kind of at the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately, and not a lot of people got to watch it and enjoy it and fall in love with it. So that's why I'm making this video, is because I think a lot of people, especially people who like kind of spooky content, if you're a fan of spooky shows like Danny Phantom or like any ghost related TV show, like I love anything to do with ghosts, this show is definitely worth a watch. Like I said, it has fantastic characters which are like just so endearing, and they really make the show for me, and sometimes genuinely dark and creepy storylines, which I just love to see. It's not like overly dark, but for a quote-unquote kids show, it definitely is darker than your average kids show. So there's just a lot to love, and it's a show that I just keep coming back to over and over. It's incredibly rewatchable, and I just also love that it's so deeply rooted in the late 90s. The late 90s is my favorite time period, and so it's so awesome to have a show that's like not only from 1997, but like very much deeply rooted in 1997 in terms of its overall style and aesthetic. So I definitely recommend checking out Extreme Ghostbusters. If you're wondering where you can watch it, you can find a few episodes on the official Ghostbusters YouTube channel. They used to have all of them up there, but they deleted a bunch of them, unfortunately, which I'm really upset about. But you can find the first episode on the official Ghostbusters YouTube channel. And then from there, if you're in Canada, you can watch it on ctv.ca. And if you're in America, you can watch it on Crackle, which is Sony's free-to-use streaming platform. So it's free to watch on all three of those platforms, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Thank you so much for joining me for this Halloween-themed episode of Teen Cartoons. I really appreciate it. This was my first time doing a cartoon review and my first time doing like a cartoon-related video essay, so I hope we did an okay job. This was super fun to make, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really, 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 really hope that you check out Extreme Ghostbusters, because like I said, it's like my most favorite show ever, and I think it really deserves more attention and love. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today for the first video in Pandaween 2022. I will see you guys all in the next one, but until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye!